Hello once again, everybody. Welcome to Soccer's Overtime, your weekly look inside the San Diego Sockers and the Major Arena Soccer League. Back with you live on Twitch.tv, our San Diego Sockers channel. Craig Elston, Jerry Jimenez, back with you, coming to you live if you are listening to us and watching us on Twitch on a Tuesday evening, 5 o'clock. Tuesday, March 8th, 2022. Sockers have won 13 in a row, took down the Chihuahua Savage, Taming the Savage, the title here of Season 4, Episode 18 of Soccer's Overtime. And it is a great pleasure and a great relief to welcome back mi querido amigo, Jerry Jimenez. Welcome back, Jerry.
Thank you, sir. It's good to be back. It feels like I've been gone forever. It's only been a week, though. Are you all right? You did okay. I heard I heard there was a couple of little technical difficulties, but nothing too crazy. So very proud of you.
Yes,
sir.
yeah, such as audio only. That was the technical difficulty.
Sorry you missed out on our faces last week, but I'm glad to be back. Got a quick visit in with the mouse down, in Anaheim, so that was nice. Time spent with the family, 3 days over there, and but it's good to be back and get to talk some more, San Diego Sockers with you today.
Well, we've got a big show planned for you, as we do every week, of course. Tonight on the show, we will revisit a hard-fought 6-2 win over the Chihuahua Savage on Sunday at Pechanga Arena, San Diego, wrapping up another perfect homestand for the San Diego Sockers. Our special guest tonight, coming up at 5:30, maybe a little bit of a different direction. We're going to talk to midfielder Sean Callahan, a rookie on the Sockers team. A guy, though, who has made his path into the MASL through M2 and through Sockers 2. We're going to find out what that transition has been like for Sean Callahan to earn his way onto one of the most prestigious rosters in indoor soccer. Plus, we'll bring you MASL news. Florida is rolling. Are the Sockers really even in first? We'll talk about it. We'll preview what's coming up the rest of this month, including Nopening Night. We're going to get into Nopening Night with a new reveal for Nopening Night, exclusive to Soccer's Overtime here this evening. Special hello, of course, to everybody who is listening to us in their earbuds on the podcast. This is and always was a podcast and never so shall be. And to everybody who's watching the replay on YouTube, please, if you would button, hit subscribe. You'll catch all of our Soccer's material, and it does help it spread to others. All right, Jerry, let's get into it, man. Back at the arena on Sunday night. This was the game we'd been talking about for a while, right? Sockers and Savage. And after getting through Kansas City, I didn't really get the chance to talk to you about those games, but right, a surprisingly dominant win, although when Leo Gibson wasn't there, maybe not as surprising. Dominant win over Kansas City. Milwaukee with no team. Sockers rolled over them. And then we said, okay, but this Savage team, they've won 7 in a row. They're coming in full roster, full bore, nobody left south of the border. This is going to be the test. And I think it's fair to say the Savage are who we thought they were, right? A really good team.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think we've been talking about it. Of course, as you said, the last 2 games for the Sockers, it was very well played by the Sockers, taking advantage of the fact that they're, both teams missing some key players. And somebody like Lee Gibson with the Comets, who does so much for that team, but it could have gone both ways. It could have gone Kansas City's way in the sense that other players get the opportunity, say, have that mentality of, hey, I have something to prove here. We have something to prove here without Leo. And fortunately, it did go our way. We got it handled, got it taken care of. But yeah, man, back to Chihuahua. I mean, we knew going into this game that it was going to be, I think you said, don't be surprised if it's a low scoring game. And to be fair, when it comes to a Sockers Chihuahua game, it was low scoring, because Chihuahua was so different from the last 2 games. I think, and shout out to Mr. Nate Abarrea, who said, I consider this the season 2 Chihuahua Savage, right? Season 1 was when we beat them twice, and it was totally different team from what they are now, coming in with a 7 win streak. Somebody was going to lose. I think you guys said it at the beginning of the broadcast too. Somebody's going to lose their streak here. And we knew it, talking about it, just watching this Chihuahua team play so well, and the stars that are a part of that team. I was really looking forward to it. Man, it did not disappoint. What a fantastic game. I'm gonna start playing for those of you that are here live with us. Start playing some highlights here in the background. But my goodness, man, what a game!
And now
A
it's
game
3-1 the other way.
worthy
Look out, it's
of,
Suarez
well,
into
listen
the
to
middle.
me.
Sorry about that. There you go.
A game worthy of the legends who were around. And you know it's a big game when Craig Childs is knocking balls off the line and playing defense. Childs' third blocked shot of the season that did get the game going and actually was sneaky, I think, a big play in Sunday night's match, because that was a situation. It was a top-of-the-arc set piece about a minute and a half into the match. The Sockers didn't come with the right pattern, so to speak. Chihuahua blocked it, turned it immediately into a counterattack. It was 3v1. The one was Childs. Boris did what he wants to do. He took the shooter, and Childs played the pass and saved 1-0. If Chihuahua walks right in and goes up 1-0 2 minutes in, not to say that they win the game for sure, but it's a different game, and it's a chance for them to get momentum and then them to get confidence. And instead, Childs builds confidence for the team by doing something you don't expect, making a huge defensive contribution. He made one in the second half as well, not blocking a ball off the line, but making a big defensive contribution that helped stop a goal.
Yeah, no, it was crazy, and we see it here actually in the comments. Welcome everybody that's joining us now, and feel free to comment as well if you're live with us. But K. Vibert says Childs, Leo both were tracking back as forwards to defend. Team effort all over the field, and I think you saw it. It started with Childs, the captain doing captain things and just taking the lead there and doing what needs to be done, which was just fantastic. You don't get to see it too often. We do see it once in a while, but man, we saw it this time.
Yeah, and of course, this game was all about defense because, first of all, the team defends, and we'll talk about the style in which the team defends and how successful it is, especially at Pechanga Arena as we continue through. But to hold Chihuahua came in, I made sure to bring my broadcast board with me. They came in averaging 8.6 goals per game as a team this year. Wow. Now, keep in mind, at home, they averaged 10.9 goals per game. On the road, 5.5. But most of their road games early in the year were played without their full roster. So I was expecting them to be a 6-7 goal average expected team, right, coming in. And the Sockers hold them to 2. They shut out Jorge Perea Rios. Rios had gone 12 games in the league, 12 games with goals, 24 goals total. No one had shut him down, and no one had kept him out of the net. Sockers kept him off entirely. And that type of effort, of course, it goes back to the man. And I wanted to make sure I found my throwback green, that color that Boris didn't want to wear because it was the only kit all year he hadn't won in. And that is the that is this beautiful Kelly Green Zoltan Toth throwback, because Boris Pardo was just magnificent. I thought start to finish, flawless game by Pardo.
It's one of the things I love about soccer players and just like the soccer community in general. We're so what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for here? Oh man. Like that whole I lost in this jersey, I'm not gonna wear it. Right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's just he wants to move on. I mean, just
that's
like
hilarious.
It's superstitious, really. I mean,
superstition. That is the word I'm looking for. Thank you. Sorry, brain fart. But he actually, before the match started, I went in, and I usually will go in to the locker room to take some pictures of the jerseys to post on social media. And Paul Savage, shout out. He's always eyeing me like, "What are you doing in here? Again, more pictures, really?" He's taking care of all the jerseys. It's like, what are you doing here? But Pardo was there, and he's like, Jerry, come over, take a picture of the jersey. And he's like, I'm wearing the green today. So he was very excited about wearing that jersey again. I think it was a moment for him where he said, all right, it's time to bring this one back. It's alumni game night. It's alumni night. It's time to bring it back. And man, okay, so that superstition is now gone. He can wear that beautiful green jersey once again.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Pardo Show. I think you've said it before. We'll continue to say it. My goodness. Yes, superstition. Sorry, D Bishop. I appreciate it for the assist there.
Wow.
Words. I mean,
what are you trying
Tuesday.
to say? Okay. Oh, sounds like superstition.
Words and me don't get along.
It's okay. What is superstitious in Spanish? What's the word?
Superstición.
Superstition. Okay,
Yeah.
superstition. It's all good. Hey, I'm superstitious. Hey, listen, this is what I like to say. I'm not
I forget words in
superstitious. I'm
multiple
just,
languages, though, right,
yeah.
Craig?
I'm not superstitious. I'm just stitious.
Just stitches.
So,
Just a little stitches, mini stitches.
yeah, and I'm a little superstitious, as Keith Bibbard says as well.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
as long as Craig Chalice has that mustache, I think the Sockers are good to go. You know, this was a great back and forth game. We saw earlier that absolutely gorgeous Cesar Serra the goal. You know, really soccer perfection, the pass out, the layoff, and the goal. Tavoy Morgan didn't get a goal or a point in this game, but we just saw in the highlights we're playing, if you're watching with us on Twitch, the penalty he drew at the end of the third quarter, right after Hugo Puentes had created a beautiful snap header of a rebound and tied the match 2-2. And it was just seconds later that Morgan drew that penalty. So Childs got that goal and Leo got the assist. Morgan doesn't get a point for it, but Morgan should get a tip of the cap on soccer's overtime. If I had a cap, I'd tip it, because that's a contribution to a winning team right there.
Oh, man, like, I have nothing else to add. Yes, absolutely, 110%. Man, just the way that they've been playing is so fantastic, right? And I had to. This was not planned, by the way. For those of you that are watching right now, we're wearing our jerseys, and this was not planned. He's wearing the goalkeeper jersey, as he already mentioned. I am wearing the one and only number 22, retired number 22. Double deuce, triple E, right? Did I say that right?
Yeah,
One and
double deuce,
only.
triple E. The one and
Julie.
only Julie V.
I got it. Uh, but it's just, this game showed us what this team is capable of doing. I mean, once again, being able to hold a very strong Chihuahua team that has firepower to only 2 goals. How many times have we now seen Boris give up more than 3 goals?
Yeah,
Ever?
it's 7 in a row with 3 or less.
Okay.
Specifically with 3 or 2, right? And I believe it's 5 times with 3 and twice with 2. You know, and the 2 is like Ontario and Chihuahua, 2 of the great rivals in the MASL West. Absolutely spectacular performance. Just got stronger as the match went on. You know, at his very best in the final minute, as Chihuahua is pressing and they have nothing to lose, and the Sockers really have nothing to gain, so to speak. And Pardo made about 3 bonus saves, including one to close out the match. Absolutely beautiful. But what I really thought was so important to this match, Jerry, was the style of defense the Sockers played. It's what led them to the championship last year and led them out of the doldrums of a losing season, right? It's the change they made when they fell to 3-6 last year, which was to abandon a pressure-oriented defensive scheme and to go to what they call low pressure, meaning really guarding your half of the floor and having 5 guys behind the ball. As was joked with William Venzella and Paul Savage last year, Baltimore West, creating that defensive mentality. And as our general manager, Sean Bowers, former great player, member of the alumni, always says, talking about low pressure, it's low pressure, but it's high intensity. You defend with extreme high intensity, but it's in that low pressure zone. And the Sockers have gone from learning it and playing it to becoming really, really good at it. And it puts forwards in situations they don't want, where they have to create everything, where they have to be classical targets and they have to be able to move the ball, and teams have to be sharing and doing the tiki-taka in order to break down that low pressure. And even if you do, you've got a lot of guys that are there to block shots, right? And you've got the best defensive core right now in the MASL. So when you are able to do that, and then you've got speed guys like Juan Manuel Rojo and Christian Gutierrez who can turn that low pressure into a counterattack and turn that into an outmanned rush the other way. And a guy like Tavoy Morgan that can join that, or a Brandon Escoto, or a Leo, as we see Leo celebrating his goal from the match, that can push that and drive the ball right at a defender and lay it off and create those opportunities. That's how low pressure can really, really frustrate an opposing team. And I think you see that when a team like Chihuahua wants to run, right? They want to run. They want to get out and fly. They want to get their scorers out in space. When they do, they're unstoppable. Down at Corner Sport Arena, there's no midfield, so they can run without running. You know, they can just turn around and they're in the zone. But here you have to earn it when you play the low pressure. And I think the Sockers have become the low pressure masters.
Yeah, and I've noticed that off of that low pressure, they've been able to create spaces. And that if you give the Sockers any sort of space, they will find it and they will use it. And we saw it this game where, I mean, you saw that goal with Leo, right? I mean, he had enough space. He was given space. He laid off of him a little bit, and he was able to put it in the back of the net. It was the same thing with the Cerda goal when they came back. And obviously that was also just beautiful teamwork there for that Cerda goal. But you saw it also multiple times from Charlie Gonzalez this game too, where he was able to just get enough of a space. He saw it and was able to just score that goal. Now, I'm not sure if the low pressure was a lot to do with it, but I do think that it helps. If you watch the play as it goes, the run and play, they're finding the opportunities to counter very well and then taking advantage of those open spaces. So yeah, absolutely a very interesting thing to see, to talk about, because it's, again, going back to how they won the championship last year. We've noticed also with Tavoy Morgan, teams know that that's who they need to cover. They know that that's who they need to protect against. However, he still manages to put the ball where it needs to be. He is assisting. He's also creating space for other players. And I don't think he minds that at all. Not getting on the score sheet is not as big of a deal as, winning is for Tavoy Morgan. And he has become a very important part in the way that they're playing. And I'm really enjoying, as we see again here, Charlie taking advantage and just
How
putting the
about
ball.
that lovely little bit of skill there? How about
Oh
just
my
that
God.
that lovely little soul roll as Burn is coming in to try and break his leg?
Baldovino.
I mean, just Burn is coming in
No.
hot for a foul right there.
Baldovino was not having a good game. I mean, he fantastic goalkeeper, but he wasn't having a good game in the sense of just being able to hold back his his feelings of anger and hate towards a couple of the soccer players. Like, he was not having a very happy game, and I'm sure he hated that, because I mean, Charlie just destroyed him on that one. But it goes back to how well this team is playing as a team, as a cohesive unit, and being able to not just stop the other team, but also put the ball in the back of the net multiple times, taking advantage of it. And then, man, it's been great to see, man. And talking to Boris after the game, and talking to Craig Childs as well after the game. I mean, these guys are just, they get it. There is a mission. They want to repeat. They absolutely want to repeat a championship, and you just love to hear that.
It's the truth, that's for sure. Real quick, I wanted to address what happened right after the Soccer scored their sixth goal and the red card, because we didn't have any video of it. Also, after the very, very long discussion, it wound up 4v4, and on the air, I thought it was the wrong call. And I was saying on the air, this should have been 5v5. What's going on? I had the chance to communicate with the director of officiating, Ryan Sigich, about the play and kind of go through it with him, and also to talk to players and coaches down on the floor about what happened, because we didn't catch it on video. So what happened was, as Leo scores that goal and makes it 6-2, Escoto celebrated in the crease. He kind of, did one of those, like big yelling cheer, pumping his fists, and it was essentially in the face of Escalante. At least Roberto Escalante thought it was in the face of Escalante. And Escalante then put two hands on Brandon's throat and shoved him. And that's why Escalante got red carded. That's why Escoto got yellow carded. He got yellow carded for dissent, but what wasn't announced on the PA, but turned out to be the case, is that Escoto got a yellow card and a blue card. He got a blue card for the celebration in Escalante's face. Escalante got a red card for putting his hands on Escoto, and then the yellow was for dissent. So the red does get an automatic power play for anything but 6 fouls. Sigich corrected me on that. I thought a dead ball red didn't affect the players in the floor, but it does. So Sockers would have had a power play, but Escoto got the blue for his unsportsmanlike celebration. That was kind of like the compromise position that the officials took. So 4v4 was correct. it was the correct call. I even went to the rule book looking for because I was like, I'd never really heard of a blue that wasn't in the run of play, but it's there. It's rule 12.1 parentheses 0. So it's there. I saw it. I looked it up myself. So good job, refs. Well at, and they were asking, it might have been Charlie was sitting out the blue, because when you get a blue and a yellow, you're going to sit out 7 minutes. But the penalty that affects the man on the field is only 2 minutes. So another player serves the 2-minute penalty so he can run out and reestablish even play. And now we've learned the rest of the story.
There you go. Okay, that makes more sense. Okay, so it was accurate. It was an accurate call.
Yes, it was. It took them a long time to get there. Now you could say, why didn't they blue that right away? Why do you talk for 5 minutes to get to a blue? That's still a question you could ask. Of course, the red was shown right away. But there was a lot of discutir going on down there. There was a lot of argument. There was a lot of discussion. And that was what they got to. And it was the correct and proper call. And anytime I'm going to be wrong about something like that, I'm absolutely going to call myself out on it and try and correct the record. So great job by the referees there. Just a couple other things before we get to our special guest coming up here at the bottom of the hour. Very excited, Jerry, that prior to Sunday's match, we heard of the creation of Los Brujos del 78, the Chavos de Loyal satellite supporter group, offshoot group, however you want to put it, a subgroup within the Venn diagram of Chavos. Of course, with Adrian right there leading the way, but Kevin was there as well. I saw the Chavos brought out, a contingent that, again, players, fans talked about just how that makes an impact on the game. You've been working on this so hard. How excited are you to see that there is now something with a name on it in Section 19?
Yeah, no, I'm super excited, and shout out to Brujos now, who, for those of you that don't know, Chavo del Ocho is a very, very famous TV show in Central and Southern Americas, right? So all of Mexico, it's a Mexican actor, Mexican show. However, it's known worldwide throughout Latin America, and they call themselves Chavos de Loyal. Chavo being like the kids, right? The kids of Loyal, and the Brujos del 78, which is, you have to say it in Spanish,
Yeah,
78,
okay.
78, 78, is in reference to La Bruja del 41, I think it is, which is in the show. There's a character that's the witch of this specific apartment in the complex where
Got it.
Chavo lives. And she was an important part. She's just a character in the show, and so they found a way to tie in the Chavos de Loyo into the Soccers by using the 78, because we were awesome since 78, right? So I
Right.
think it was super creative. They are always so creative. Not just that, but you saw their banners out there, and we have a Soccer's specific banner now, which kudos to Adrian and all the guys over there who are putting in the work. I love it. I absolutely love it. They know that anything that they need from us, we are here. And also, if you are interested, go and hit them up in Section 19 if you want to
Yes.
join them. They are more than welcoming. They would love to have a few beers with you guys. And you heard them, right? The moment that Baldovinos was on their side, the drums went off. When Pardo was there, they fell back a little bit, but they did cheer. They did continue to sing, but they were way louder and definitely giving Baldovinos a very hard time, which I loved to see. So kudos to you guys. Honestly, love what you're doing. You can hear it in the broadcast so loud. Those drums, they're fantastic. And I think that it brings so much. You see it on Twitter, you see it on social media. Everybody is loving that interaction between the supporter section in 19, and then everybody else gets into it. Man, this game was one of those. I think I texted you afterwards, Craig, where I was like, did you hear how crazy the crowd got
Yeah,
when
it sounded
Boris
so good.
Pardo, like those 5 immediate saves when he was doing like the crazy save thing at the end? I mean, like it got so loud, the drums were loud, and the whole arena was loud, and that is man, I love it so much. So, man, we have to just give kudos to them and to everybody that was there. Honestly, thank you so much for joining us. Can't wait to do it again. I know we get a little bit of a break, but now's where you start planning because
Yes.
you have to start planning. Start putting some money in el cochinito, which means put into your piggy bank, and come out for a game and join. Make sure that you join Brujos del 78 because it's a fun time always.
So I think you just solved a mystery for all of us, Jerry, but for me specifically as well. Because as I was watching back the game, there were these moments where Berna Valdivinos, the keeper of Chihuahua, kept coming up to Childs, like during stoppages. He kept coming up to him. He was like barking at him and like blah 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 blah, and he looked like concerned sometimes. And like the first time, and I talked to Childs after. I'm like, why was Bernie yelling at you over and over? And he goes, dude, I didn't understand what he was saying. Which I mean, of course, right? And he said, like, the first time I kind of listened to him, I was like, okay. He said, the second time I just pointed up at the scoreboard and then he got really mad. But now I get it. It was in the second quarter.
Yep.
He was probably saying, tell these drummers to shut up.
No, he should specifically Chihuahua should be used to loud supporters. Okay, they should be very used to it. I mean, he might not be used to it in MASL. I don't know, but yeah. See, so K. Vidward actually says it was so funny to have the guys chatting with the keeper in Spanish. That's another advantage that all these guys speak Spanish. They were probably giving him a bunch of crap in Spanish. You know, like that's probably what ended up happening. I wouldn't doubt it if that is in fact. I'd be interested to ask Valdovinos. He just accepted me as a friend on social, so I might message and be like, "Hey, how are the supporters, man? Did you enjoy it?"
What are you yelling at Craig about? Why are you so mad?
By the way, it's been a while, so I apologize to all of my Mexican American and Mexican brethren. Bruja del 71, so it's even closer. So yeah, so it was a Bruja del 71, so it's only 7 years away from 78. It worked out perfectly, man. I just think it's such a cool story too, and they're so creative about all the names that they do, and they're so creative about the chants, so creative about everything that they do, the banners, and I just can't wait to see that section grow and grow and grow. And hopefully you guys that are listening here, give it a try and go and check it out because it's a totally different atmosphere, totally different feeling when you're actually in the section. So be there.
Yeah. The last thing to discuss is just how incredible it is anytime soccer's legends are in the house. And we had the Legends game. We had the 81-82 folks being honored pre-game. Brian Quinn coming out wearing Martin Donnelly's number 2 jersey to honor Martin, who's had some health issues of late. Julie, Mora, all the way down through the Guy Newman being there, and honoring, of course, Ron Newman, the greatest indoor coach of all time. Kevin Crow finally being back and being part of the halftime. And then, of course, Paul Wright and everybody who ran out on the floor. Our 6v6. I had to ask Sean Bowers because for 3 years we've been talking about it's going to be 6v6. And Paul Wright's like, I'm not playing unless it's 6v6 with subs. And we have 6v6 and we announce it and we talk about it. And then, like, one goal in, it stops being 6v6. I'm like, what's going on? And I asked Bowers, and he goes, yeah, they scored a minute in, and then the other team dropped 2 more guys on the floor. And Paul's like, get him off the field. Get him out of there. And Sean's like, everybody come on in.
At that point, there was no control. Like, who's gonna control those guys? They're just like, hey, just come in. No one's counting.
Unbelievable. Crazy. Yeah. So I know, seriously, because I looked down, I looked down for a second and I looked back up and I'm like, wait, it looks like it's 12 on 12 out there. What the hell? I thought it was supposed to be, oh, well, let's get rolling. So incredible night. Legends night, always important. You heard Boris say it in his post-match interview. There's pressure. Internalized pressure. It's not like the Legends walk in and go, you better win. Although Julie probably would, right? You better win, you donkeys. I'm sure he would. Back in my day, we'd take this team to school. We'd whack them on the fanny, tell them, go get out of here, wear an apron next time. But
Let me tell you, back in my day, that's how every story starts. And it's funny because it's so cliche, but he actually starts his stories that way. It's so funny. Yes.
but so it's not that way. But the players do feel it. They know it's talked about in the locker room. Like the eyes of soccer's history are on you tonight, so don't screw it up. And to have Chihuahua in instead of a gimme, like Utica or Tacoma or something to be in town. No diss to Danny Waltman, but we've beaten you 5 out of 5 so far. Not to have that, to have a team that had won 7 in a row and to play the game that they played. Really, really great stuff on Sunday night. All right, bottom of the hour. Let's welcome in our special guest. Super excited for this young man who has made an incredible path up the ranks from M2 to the MASL and now getting a regular turn with the San Diego Sockers, although this weekend might be a little bit different, but we'll talk to him about that. Sean Callahan is our special guest on this edition of Soccer's Overtime. Sean, Craig, and Jerry here with you on Twitch. Thanks so much for joining everyone live.
No problem, guys. Sound good? Everything good?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Actually, you know what? You probably sound the best already out of all the guests that we've had. And you were smart enough to set your camera sideways or to have it in such a way where it's not cutting off the sides. So most people are on their phone. So I appreciate you very much. Already winning,
no
sir.
Problem. No
Thank
problem.
you.
Well, Sean, I know that Hammy kind of pulled you up at halftime, and you were getting good work on it from the magic fingers of team MVP Paul Savage earlier today. How you feeling?
Definitely better. Savvy goes into it. That was pretty painful, but it always feels better once, like you said, he works his magical fingers. But yeah, frustrated it happened at middle of the second quarter in that game too. It was a blast playing in that, and it really sucked coming out, but definitely better. It probably is about a week injury. It could have been a month or 2 months if I'd kept playing.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously you did get to play that first half. What were your thoughts, man, on that Sunday's match? Obviously, then the playing side of things, and then having to come out and watching how the team ended that match. What are some thoughts?
Yeah, so we knew we had to. The big thing was matching intensity while also keeping our heads level. I think Craig said that specifically, and he was spot on. And I think we did a good job about that. We know what Savage is and what they have to offer. They're extremely talented. They're very fast, very technical, want the ball. And like I said, we just had to match their intensity, and we did for the most part. It was a fast-paced game, and like I said, just frustrated. I had to come out at half, but I thought the team really played well.
Yeah, we were talking about it when we were going through the game review, Sean, about low pressure, high intensity.
Yeah.
And that's what you get with a match like this. Because like you said, it is fast and it is fast paced. And you go, well, how's that the case? It was 2-2. I've watched other MASL games where there were 8 goals in the first quarter. Right. That's fast paced. No, that's no defense.
No,
there's a difference.
Exactly. Spot on. And it's a smarter game. It's more technical. It's more tactical when it is like a 2-1 game, because any mistake you're going to be capitalized on. And I think our first goal, we just capitalized on Chihuahua's only mistake pretty much of the quarter. And I think they capitalized on our only mistake of the quarter as well. So that's really, like you said, that's fast pace.
Great stuff.
I get to cover M2 a bit for social media, and they've been doing a fantastic job. Yeah. You started in Soccers too, but I'm interested to hear kind of your soccer origin story. Like where it started for you. And I have my own podcast, and this is always my favorite question. So I'm glad that I get to take this. Greg, where did your love for the beautiful game begin, sir?
Indoors, probably at the Mission Valley YMCA when I was, 3-4 years old. My parents signed me up for every sport in the book, and baseball and soccer kind of stuck. But, they kept pushing me for soccer. They said I had a little bit more passion for it. And I did. I remember, 4 or 5 years old, I would just play. I'd have my game, and then I'd stick around to see if the next game, was low on players so I could play again. And then, I would just play all day. So that's really where it started. Then, went to club, in San Diego, eventually worked up to college, and then a little bit of Albion, and then Soccer's 2, of course, and here I am.
That path to get onto Soccer's 2 and to be coached by Renee Ortiz, obviously, Alex Monar is a big part of the program as well nowadays, but to have that introduction in a professional setting where that 2018-19 team, playing at the sports arena, going undefeated, but having to go out and play that, real tough Final Four away. What was that experience like in terms of really indoctrinating you into what it means to be a pro?
Yeah, it was eye-opening for sure. And Renee, I mean, he's a well of knowledge. He knows the game in and out. So he really has a passion for it, which is something that I think I see the game similar to Renee. And it was just, like I said, eye-opening and a little bit stressful, a little bit challenging for sure, especially. I mean, I think 2018 was my first real competitive year playing indoor soccer. And there's always a huge transition going from outdoor to indoor. It's a completely different sport. But Renee, Alex, even Craig, even some of the first team guys, they've all helped me transition into it. And so it's really been more fun. Now I enjoy this more than the outdoor game.
We do have to give a shout out. I think this is a perfect time to give a shout out to Soccer's too, because they've been doing fantastic right now.
Yeah.
Greg, what are they at now? Actually, Sean, you were there watching the boys.
I'm
watching the boys.
I'm there every game. And I would love to play with them as well. I think they've lost once to Ontario.
Yeah.
So they're 7-1, 8-1. Just came off a good win against Wichita, and they'll just keep it rolling. They're incredibly talented, especially from 2018, 2019, whatever year it was when we won the championship to this year. I mean, the talent on the second team is unbelievable, and that's a testament to how good the first team is. Just some of the guys that aren't playing, it's just like astounding.
You know what? Sean Bowers shared that with me, and I can update the stats. So the Soccers and Soccer's 2, our organizations are combined 26-1-1 this year.
Wow.
I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
If you want to watch a winning team, I'm pretty sure this is where it's at.
Exactly.
Yeah, 10-1, right? 10-1 for Soccer's 2, 16-1 for Soccer's. So there it is, 26-1-1. The math follows. We can double check it. We are right. This is perfect. So now for a long time, Sean,
right, Craig? Sorry, Crunch is the only other team that's like above them right now in the
correct.
league.
They've got no losses.
Yeah, but I mean, we have to mention this. They beat Wings, who was also on the top of their I guess it's division, and were able to hold them to 2 goals. I mean, this is a fantastic Wings team too.
Yeah.
Alan Crespo coming in with a fantastic hat trick. One of them, I mean, it could have gone both ways. I think the third one, Crespo touched it, but it was gonna go to Kevin, if I'm not mistaken, on the team. And then obviously with Ismael Rojo coming in, putting in the ball in the back of the net. I mean, what a talented team, as Sean mentions. But definitely want to give them a shout out because they're worth watching. And I want to invite everybody to come out and watch this team. In March 20th, the Soccers play against Tacoma Stars. But before that, at 12:30, the Soccers 2 team will be playing against the Omaha Kings. You guys should come out and see it. $10. I mean, I can't say enough about this team. Like Sean already said, if you don't take it from me, take it from somebody that actually knows soccer, not me. Sean said it. They are a super talented team. And sorry to interrupt you, Craig, but I'm just really excited for this team, and I hope that people want to come and check it out too.
It's okay. We'll talk about the interruption later. But hey, Alan Crespo, though, that's a guy, Sean, that I've been hearing stuff about now. Like week in and week out, starting to hear that Alan Crespo is a guy that might be making the move up too before too long. What have you seen?
Yeah, he's dangerous. He's shifty. He's strong. He's got pretty much everything: technical, fast, and he can finish. And you can see the way he plays. He's got that passion, that fire that you need to really be at the top level. He's a good player.
Fun stuff. Now, while this is your first year with the Soccers, it's not your first year with the Soccers. because of course for years you've been one of the guys who's been out at training, and has been there, been a part of training, for multiple years. What's that been like for you? I mean, obviously it's got to be easier getting into a locker room when you've been training with the team for an extended period of time, but to go from being that kid where you just might get a fist bump from Childs at the end of the day, like, hey, thanks for coming out, to now you're getting a regular shift.
Yeah. It's been crazy. It's been crazy. For me, I just love to play, regardless if it's D2, D1, Wednesday nights, Sunday league, whatever. I just love to play. And, I'm just happy to be able to contribute at this high level. And now, like, playing in front of the arena, playing in front of the fans, it's definitely a different level, but it's a blast. That's really all I can say.
No, I wasn't too familiar, and I've said this multiple times. I keep throwing myself under the bus, but I'm still learning about the indoor game quite a bit. And I will forever be a student of the beautiful game. But in your role from M2 and then going into the soccer's main team, was it a similar role that you were placed in, or was it different? And then how have you been able to kind of shift and fit into the role that you're in now?
I mean, it's definitely different. With the D2 team, it was learning the style, learning the formation. I'd say, I don't want to say I had a little bit more freedom, but, I was able to go up, attack, and score. I'd be in twos, sometimes in threes, whereas, coming to the first team, I started off, every fifth shift, which makes sense. You got to adjust to the speed. So there's definitely a different role. And, if I'm in a line with Escoto and Leo, I'm really got to work my butt off defensively to make sure that they're fresh so that they can do their attacking stuff. Because I mean, right now they've had how many years in the league, and the stats to back it up. I got to make sure that I do my part first before I can really have my freedom to go do whatever I want to do, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes a ton of sense. Well, I mean, here we are, man. Right? Obviously not going to be able to maybe hop into this particular road trip coming up, but that's because we want to make sure you're available. I mean, this is going to be a really good feeling, right? Like, we want to make sure Sean Callahan is an available part of this team going forward. It is so exciting, man, to see this path to pro. We talk about it all the time. You can go from a tryout situation to a Soccer's 2, but Soccer's 2 is a place you can really learn, and you can play against players who are good, and you can get valuable experience and valuable coaching. And that, hey, there's always going to be those 3 spots. I think the Soccers have learned their lesson about trying to fill the roster with 15 all-stars. Like, you need guys who understand their role. And I got to give you a lot of credit as being a guy who you understand your role.
Yeah, 100%. I know I'm not asked to score or to put up 15, 20 goals this year. I'm asked to really just work my butt off and try and not let the other team score. It's kind of almost that simple. And like you said, going from tryouts to D2 to D1, Renee is the head coach. I mean, I don't know how he does it. I think that I'm struggle with time with work and this, but Renee doesn't sleep. And everything that I've learned, or the only reason why it's been such an easy transition, I don't want to say easy transition, but a transition into the first team, was because of everything that I learned with Renee in the D2 team. I mean, the drills are almost exactly the same. It's really just the speed of play and, making less mistakes.
I have to bring in a question real quick from our watching audience. John San Diego 69 says, okay, but have you learned how to dance from Tavoy yet?
I would never try and dance like Tavoy. The guy's got more rhythm than I could have in 2 lives. It's unbelievable. I might do. We've got a little warm up. Maybe I'll do that as my goal celebration if I get another one. But no, I'm never gonna try and mimic Tavoy. Great question, but he's too talented in that area. That's him. Wine recommendation, I got you, but dancing, that's Tavoy.
There you go.
You need a 92-degree Pinot. We've got you set.
Exactly.
No, that's actually one of my favorite parts, and I think a lot of people miss it because they don't realize, like, an hour before the games kicks off, you guys are out there warming up, right?
Mhm.
And the warm-ups are so fun to watch
Yeah.
when Tavoy starts leading the warm-ups in a circle. And I mean, that guy is something else. And I think he's
Yeah.
also brought so much. Just watching him, I look back at some videos and I'm like, yeah, I could never do that too. So I feel you.
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to have, I mean, I'm Latino, I'm supposed to have some sort of better like movement, but no,
Yeah.
nope,
No.
I like him.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Yeah. The guy's unbelievable.
Oh, Sean, we're going to let you go, man. We appreciate you coming on, making your debut on Soccer's Overtime. Amazing contributions this rookie season. And I thought, what a cool story to start to elevate. We can always talk to Craig again at some other time, like let's talk about what you can do to become a part of the San Diego Soccers and to be an actual player. You're a young guy living in San Diego who has made this dream a reality. Congratulations. And thanks for being on the show.
Of course. Thank you guys. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Go Soccers, brother. Get well, get that hamstring right.
I will.
All right, there he is. Sean Callahan, our special guest today on Soccer's Overtime. That's fun.
Always fun. Sorry I interrupted you. If send fines directly to JG, he will
Yes.
I'm just kidding. He's I think he's in the chat right now. He's gonna be like, what?
Yeah, he's actually gonna open a spreadsheet. What do you need?
What does he need?
No, it's okay. We're kidding. we're kidding. We're totally kidding. Incredible stuff.
Yeah, what a great player to watch too. I mean, he gets it. He knows what his job is. And that's what I'm saying. That's the beauty of this team playing so cohesively. It's people like Sean and everybody else on this squad who gets it and is like, okay, that's my job. Let's handle business. And they take care of it, Beautiful.
Let's get into some Soccers news. And we've got Soccers news, we got MASL news, and we got to talk about the Soccers and Blast. We got to talk about this road trip coming up before we get out of here. If you guys have questions, drop them in the chat, and we will send them your way. So I just looked it up because the MASL announced their offensive and defensive players of the week earlier this afternoon, and they didn't give it to Boris Pardo. And that is fun. That's funny. They gave it to Uzi Kayu.
Well, I mean, didn't Pardo just win it last week?
Yes. And he won Player of the Month. But if you looked at the list of the nominees for Defensive Player of the Week, there wasn't a single player on the list that did better than Boris Pardo. Not even one. It wasn't close. Every goalkeeper on the list at least allowed another goal more than Pardo. And every defensive player on the list was part of a loss. So they gave Uzi Defensive Player of the Week. Ontario racks up these Player of the Week awards. Uzi got Defensive Player of a Week for a week in which Ontario lost a game and gave up 7 goals each game. The Soccers held Chihuahua to 2 goals. No awards. It's okay. It's okay.
You know what's funny? Well, maybe not so funny. Uzi Tahi was a great player. That's all I'm gonna say. Congrats.
Just incredible. Tip of the cap.
He's good.
Make an Instagram post out of it. Create a reel. Give him a plaque. Give him a plaque at the next home game. Give him a plaque. Hopefully tonight. Hopefully he gets a plaque tonight. For being Defensive Player of the Week. Huge game tonight, Chihuahua and Ontario. Hopefully he gets a plaque. His jersey will hang forever.
Stop.
Defensive Player of the Week. 14 goals allowed. Soccers haven't allowed 14 goals in a month.
Okay, stop it.
14 goals allowed. Whatever.
Not about them. It's about how fantastic Pardo did, and he was definitely deserved that title. But he will always be number 1 in our hearts.
It's okay. I truly believe, and I know this, when you're doing this good, the league doesn't want you to win everything every week.
No, it's not fair to everybody else.
Right.
I get it.
They want to spread it around. Boris had the best defensive performance of the week. No knock on Uzi or any other defender who allowed 14 goals this week. Any of you who win Defensive Player of the Week. It's not an Uzi specific criticism. It's a 14 goals allowed and lose 7-2 criticism. Like,
John, don't encourage
7-2 on the. Okay. You're right.
Did you see that? Thank Craig. You're safe here. You're safe here. No,
No
fines.
fines. 7-2
Stop.
they lost. Come on. You should turn in any weekly award that you get after a performance like that. But that's just me.
This one. Yes, D Bishop. That hashtag weekly award bound. That's
That's it. That's it. That's
that's
it.
it. That's
That's
it.
it. That's it.
Weekly award bound, baby.
Oh my goodness.
I love that.
Well,
We have
it's
fun,
just
by the way. We love everybody over there. We're just joking
yes.
around.
Uh-huh.
Take
Yeah.
it easy.
No,
Ooh,
it is.
I do.
We
I
keyed.
do.
We
Craig
keyed.
making
We
us up.
keyed. Last
I
7
keyed.
matches. Yeah, last 7 matches for Boris Parda now. Over 800 save percentage and 2.5 goals against. 2.5 in indoor soccer. He's got Greg Maddux stats. Like, you know, or like a hockey, an NHL goalkeeper. He's got these numbers. It's beautiful. I think goalkeeper of the year. He's got dead aim on it. Unless, you know, Chris Toth makes 12 saves and allows 8 goals, in which case Chris might get it. But nothing on Chris. I love Chris. I've known him since he was 19 years old. 14 goals. What do you 7-2? Sorry. Hey, I wanted to make one quick note because we talked about Soccer's 2 there with Sean Callahan, and one of the questions we got in the stream was, are those Soccer's 2 games streamed? And the only fair answer we could give as an organization was kind of until this week, because we had a situation which we were not very proud of at all, in which the broadcast kept dropping and it was unreliable. And I wanted to let anyone who is a Soccer's 2 fan that's listening or watching Soccer's Overtime know organization was aware and has made a change. And we are laying some extra simoleons on the table, and TVX video is coming out earlier, and we'll be able to have at least a smaller version set up, but a much more reliable setup with Nate on the call, so that everyone will feel comfortable and the broadcast will be far, far more professional. It's just nothing against Nate, but it was just, it kept dropping, it kept faltering. The graphics wouldn't work. It was just one thing after another, and it was getting everybody frustrated. So just want to let you know a change has been made, and it will be enacted in time for the March 20th game and for the rest of the year, including any home playoff games that Soccer's 2 has. And they'll have at least one. So stay tuned for that. All right. Let's talk about opening night.
What's that, Craig?
Well, we had a conundrum on our hands because March 31st was going to be a real rough night, right? Then Major League Baseball went and decided to have a self-inflicted wound, a little own goal, as we would say on our side, and cancel opening day. March 31st was supposed to be opening day in San Diego, and all of the sports community was looking ready to celebrate opening day, but it was canceled. However, opening night is alive and well. It's the match of the year in the MASL. The Sockers in the Tropics, the top 2 teams in the league, probably, maybe, possibly, probably the match that decides which team will be the number 1 seed and be able to host potentially the grand final at the end of the year. So we are pulling out all the stops, Jerry, for opening night. All right. We negotiated this with the arena. Remember, the arena took away our one Saturday match of the year. That was supposed to be last weekend. For one night only, free parking returns for Soccer's opening night. Boom, $15 savings. Free parking for opening night. $5 GA tickets. $5. $2 Bud Lights. So you can park for free, walk in for $5, put a beer in each hand for $4, $9, and you're sitting in your seat with 2 beers in your hands watching an indoor soccer game that's going to be the most anticipated of the entire year in the MASL and a very possible Ron Newman Cup Finals preview. The Sockers and the Tropics. And if the Sockers win, it could be a game 2, game 3 of the finals preview of the Sockers and the Tropics. Now, we aren't done yet. Show up in Padres gear or other baseball gear. Show up in Padres gear. We're a Padres town. We're parochial. And while supplies last, you'll get a championship pint glass that you can fill to drown your sorrows with knowing that baseball's gone, but you are here. You're here with us, and you've got a glass you can fill later to drown your sorrows. So show up in Padres gear. Now, I've gotten multiple questions. What happens if I show up in other gear? Right? What happens if I show up in other gear? John says, can I show up in Venados de Mazatlan gear? I was also asked, can I show up in Orioles gear? Nate Abrea asked, can I show up in Giants gear? So
he was giggling through the entire thing as he was reading that too. It was funny.
Yeah,
I don't think he was expecting that.
It was a cold read, and that was it made it was kind of magical that it was a cold read for him. So here's my unofficial answers. Show up in Venados de Mazatlan, you'll get an arched eyebrow. Show up in Orioles gear, you'll get a hug. Show up in Giants gear, you'll pay full price.
Nice. There's different tiers, all right? There's different. What if I show up in my Águilas de Mexicali?
Listen, there's a whole chart. The chart will be with the soccer squad. They'll have to consult the chart.
Show up in Dodgers gear, you're gonna get kicked out and not allowed.
Show up in that's the one. Just don't. We don't talk about Bruno, and we don't talk about them.
The team who shall not be named.
We don't talk about Caros. Yeah. In reality, baseball gear is what we're looking for, but we expect Padres fans. We're catering to Padres fans. We're catering to Padres fans. So, show up in that Padres gear, get a championship pint glass. But listen, there's more. Even after the pint glasses run out, we're going to give everyone on this deal who shows up in baseball gear a buy one, get one free coupon for a GA ticket for a playoff match coming up. So, the hits keep on coming. And here's another one.
Another one.
I can confirm as of today that Padres Stadium organist Bobby Cressy will be there March 31st.
Oh,
playing the organ.
Yes.
Giving you that baseball feel. Giving it all to you. Giving you all the cues. Keith, just grab a ticket. K Vibbert, you just get one. Yes, get one. Wear a baseball hat, K Vibbert. You'll get that thing. Don't worry. Answering a question in the chat. Yeah, how about it? Bobby Cressy there. $5 GA tickets, $2 beers, free parking. Show up in baseball gear. Get a pint glass while supplies last. Show up in baseball gear, even if you've got that season, even if you are a season ticket holder. Grab that coupon. Grab that BOGO coupon. All right? Grab that BOGO coupon. Use it for the playoffs.
You said under $10, you're getting your parking, you're getting your ticket, and 2 beers. 2 beers, if you call that beer, but 2 beers.
Well, yeah, okay.
$9. There's no better deal you're going to find. Not only that, it is going to be a fantastic game, one that matters. So it's going to be a good time. I'm so excited for it. It is probably one of the greatest things I've ever been a part of. The logo, I was giggling the entire time that I was making this. I mean, come on. Take me out to the soccer. We should do it like
right.
Yes. So
no opening night, no opening day. Fine, we got an opening night. That's how we're gonna roll on March 31st. So hopefully everyone's excited about this. I mean, I give a lot of credit to Sean Bowers for Yeah, no, same game. Absolutely. John San Diego was asking Bogo. That's what we mean. Buy one, get one. So that's for you to bring your wife. Absolutely. That's the buy one, get one. It's not buy one, get one the next game. It's buy one, get one for that game. So, 2 tickets for one price. Another way to look at that, it's a half price ticket, but it's because you get 2 tickets. So really excited for the promotion, excited for an opening night, excited to maybe turn what was going to be an issue for us, Jerry. We were looking at a Thursday night, our only weeknight home game.
Yeah.
The same day that the whole city was going to have a party that was going to start at like 10 in the morning downtown. Who was going to come to our 7:30 night game? We were worried about having no home field advantage for the most important game of the year. Well, thank you, Rob Manfred and Artie Moreno and whoever else we want to blame for, holding the line on the owner's side and locking out the players. I wish baseball was back. I'm not rooting against baseball, but if they're going to be away, let's go play at Pechanga Arena, San Diego. That's what I got to say.
Nice.
All right. Next up, Military Night is actually our next home game, March 20th. Sockers and Tacoma. San Diego's going to try and set a club record by beating one team 6 times wearing 5 different uniforms in the same season.
No, you didn't. No, you did not just say that.
Sockers have worn the blue. They've worn the retro. They've worn the white. They've worn the Star Wars. And now the military kit.
Wait.
Can we do it again?
No, but wait, there's more. Hasn't Tacoma worn a different jersey every single game also?
I think they might have.
Well, their home games, they've been wearing all different jerseys. So I want to go back and get the stats on that. How many jerseys have been used with these games against Tacoma? That is that would be a good stat to bring up on March 20th, Craig.
Yeah, it's got to be a record. It's got to
Oh
be
my
a record.
gosh.
So we've got a terrific giveaway. This is our best in terms of pure like dollar value, usable, wearable thing that you can take away from the season. We're giving away a t-shirt on April 3rd, but this is a lovely camouflage bucket hat presented by Front Wave Credit Union that you can wear in the summer, that you can wear. You can, when things get hot, you go to the beach, you go to the lake, whatever,
Can we show 'em?
super. Absolutely. Do you have the bucket hat? There it is. Right there with the soccer script. And that's free to everyone who shows up. So, great giveaway. Like I said, we've got a whole stack of them in the office right now. And if you're watching Twitch over my shoulder, you see this year's official kit. That's the first time you've seen it. It's the blueberry camo, right? So it's got kind of like that blue-gray look. And I saw the question as well in the chat. Yes, they will be available for sale. So they'll be available for sale in the merchandise stand, and they'll be on our players' backs on March 20th. And you're going to have the camo hat that Jerry's wearing right now. So great night. Of course, Sockers want to get the clean sweep, go 6-0 against Tacoma. Last time the Stars were here, it was 4-3 in overtime, right? Tacoma, and we'll talk about them more on MASL News, but Tacoma is team schizophrenic. You just never know. You never know. Would you like me to get it closer, Gabe? Hang on, I can pull it off the wall. But
Man, the things we do for you guys. Look at this.
right.
Go get it.
Gabe asks.
Sorry to people that are listening to us and not watching.
How about that right there? So you can
nice.
get it. It's really nice. Really
Right.
nice. By the way, the
Glad.
goalkeeper's kit is red. I don't think we have that one for sale, but it looks super cool. And then I also thought to myself, when would you ever be wearing camouflage that was red? In a rose garden? Like, when would that be useful? Isn't the whole point of camouflage to blend in?
That would not be good in real life situations.
Oh man. So right? That's what I was thinking.
If you're trying to sneak into a red night at Ontario, maybe.
There you go. Sneaking into a Fury into the Fury locker room.
Yeah.
Wade in with your red and black camouflage.
We do not condone anything. Those
don't
events
do that.
never have. Don't do that.
Please don't. Last thing, real quick. Of course, we wish our very best to our brothers outdoors. San Diego Loyal, they are going to kick off the USL Championship season this Saturday at Torero Stadium, taking on Los Dos, battling LA Galaxy 2. And if you happen to be heading out to the match, make sure to drop by the Soccer's booth. We'll be out back behind Section 109 once again. Same spot, kind of right behind the beer stand there. As far as I've been told, that's where we're going to be. But we'll be there for every home match during the run of our playoff and through the season. And then we'll be back once we get the schedule in the fall, and toward the end of the USL Championship season. So best of luck to the Loyal. I know I was out at the kit reveal. They got the Tory Green home kits this year. They got the really cool road kit that I loved. What did you think about the new Charlie kits?
Oh, they're nice. They're very nice. The white one is definitely like a standout for me. The other one, I feel like I've seen it before. But other than that, it's fantastic. I think it's really well done. I love that the pattern is also in the back. It's not just Tory Green. But that pattern continues on in the back, and I love it. And if you saw the numbers on the back are orange, which is also really cool. They stand out. It's just really well done. Kudos to Charlie, the whole team, and San Diego Loyal. I mean, absolutely the most unique and most interesting kits in USL. I mean, if you look at stuff like, I don't know, the Phoenix Rising jerseys, they look like a McDonald's jersey. It's really not great. And we have that advantage of having a company like Charlie that can do creative things. We're a creative town. I love it. I think it's a really good representation of the town, and I'm looking forward to sporting those on Saturday. One of them, at least, not both.
And just like the original Adidas release, I think maybe the purple goalkeeper kit is the best of the entire lot, with the car hitting the soccer ball, the Rocket League logo there on the front that Austin Guerrero was rocking at the kit reveal. Absolutely cool stuff. So again, best of luck to Loyal. We're hoping for them to pull in their first championship and join the pantheon of soccer champions in San Diego. So far, the pantheon involves us. So let's add to the pantheon.
And that's it.
I was like, did I forget somebody? No.
Went through the
I've been
team
here since 90. Yeah. Yeah. And no, us. Okay, good. MASL news. Let's wrap up with MASL news. Oh, John San Diego 619. When is the first game of the Wave? The first game of the Wave is March 26th at home, March 19th on the road. They have a preseason tournament. This isn't the official NWSL season. It's called the Challenge Cup. March 19th, they're going to play Angel City up in LA. And then March 26th, I actually forget who they're hosting, but that is their first home game at Torero Stadium, a preseason game. And if you want to go and you want to pay less than $50, you probably better check out tickets soon, because the price points are aggressive.
They haven't released the supporter tickets yet, as far as I know. I think actually at time of recording, they should be releasing them to supporters tomorrow. So those might be kind of priced lower, but I don't think they're going to go that low. To be honest, it looked like it was $40-something for the cheapest after all the fees and all that stuff. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a higher price point than what you're used to playing to watch a soccer match. So just be prepared for that.
Yeah. We wish the Wave the best of luck. I mean, they probably know their situation better than we do. So, I wish them well. And
it's expensive here.
It is. It's also an event town, and it's a town with very fickle loyalty. But those are different stories for different podcasts. Let's talk about MASL news. And we're going to start with the standings check, because Jerry, things are getting so crazy interesting. Do you remember a few weeks back when I said on the show that the Sockers were in first place, but you could make an argument that they weren't really, because Florida had the games in hand with the point difference that if they won through, they would be ahead of San Diego?
No, because I remember reminding you to please not take it away from us. And guess what? San Diego Sockers, if you look at maslsoccer.com
Yes.
/standings, the Sockers are in first place, Craig. I don't know where you're going with this.
Yeah. So Florida took those 2 games in hand, turned them into 6 points, and went ahead of us 43-42, just like they could. They did. And then we spent another game on Sunday night and we went back ahead by 2 points, but Florida still has that game in hand. So, it's going to come down to the 3:31 game. It really is. Florida has a tough schedule. They have a difficult schedule. We were looking through it. We were looking through all the team schedules, Sean Bowers and I, Monday morning, and kind of like trying to parse out what might be, what could be, and what will be. So here's what's left for Florida. They had been out on a long road trip, and we thought, oh, well, this is where they're going to fall apart because they had started with 9 home games and like 2 road games, and they won them all. They went to Baltimore in front of a sellout crowd with their legends in the house, and they beat them. They went to Milwaukee, played a really bad game. Were down 2-3 times, and then, like an NBA team, surged in the fourth quarter behind Zach Reggett and won the game in regulation. And then they went to St. Louis, and St. Louis tried to come back on them, and they won again. So, Florida's for real. They are absolutely for real. This is the rest of their schedule. It's a very interesting schedule. They will they have this weekend 1 game. On Sunday they will play Tacoma at the RP Funding Center. So that's a win for Florida. Then they will fly out the middle of next week and play at Ontario on Wednesday, March 16th. Very interesting game. They will then host Baltimore that Sunday down in Florida. Then the Tropics, pardon me, I almost said Marlins, an opening night on the mind. They will go on a road trip to Harrisburg and Utica, and I guarantee you they will crush both of those teams. But that's a Friday, Sunday road trip, and then they're going to fly to the West Coast, and they play Ontario Wednesday, March 30th, before playing us Thursday, March 31st. So Sockers are going to have lying in wait advantage on Florida. The Tropics will have played the Fury the night before, and even if they win that game, hopefully Ontario will have slowed them down. And then the last home game will be that Sunday. Florida will host Baltimore. So the Tropics have to play Baltimore twice, Ontario twice, and the Sockers. That's a pretty tough schedule to imagine them just running the table.
Yeah, I would have to agree. But, we've also come to know when there's back-to-back games, teams will choose where they're going to press the gas and actually handle business, and then maybe take the foot off the gas a little bit on the other game. For the Sockers, whenever it's back-to-back, it's always us that they put their foot all the way down, pedal to the metal, right? So I don't foresee them slowing down at all against us on the 31st. But if you're looking at the rest of that schedule, that is very difficult for Florida. Still, such a fantastic team. I mean, you never know. Currently, though, Craig, we are in first place. Just may I remind you.
Yes, currently. We are currently in first place. It's kind of like trying to declare the election over before all the precincts are counted. You have to count all the precincts, not just the ones where you're ahead. But it's just simple. That's just simple election news. That's not political. But the wild card, man. So, okay, Kansas City, not necessarily in this conversation anymore. They've got 6 losses, right? The Sockers have 1, Florida has 2, Kansas City has 6. And at 35 points now, 10 points behind San Diego. So, the lack of winning on the road is what has sunk the Comets. They're 6-0-2 at home, but they're 5-5 on the road. Now you look at the wild card and how is this thing going to settle out? We're kind of developing 2 tiers of 3 teams, Jerry. So you've got the 4 through 6 tier. 4th place, Baltimore, 31 points. They're 12 behind Florida, but Florida has 2 games in hand on them. So not realistic for the Blast to catch them to win the East. But they could very well finish in that 4th position, the top wildcard spot. Ontario right behind them, 28 points, 2 games in hand on Baltimore. So if the Fury take care of business tonight against Chihuahua, they can move into that 4th position. Dallas, 27 points, 18 games played, but right there within 4 points of moving into that 4th spot. So those teams feel securely in the playoffs. I think it's fair to say that Baltimore, Ontario, and Dallas, they're all going to make the playoffs, and it's just a matter of which spot for which, right? Now, go ahead. Sorry.
There looks like there's going to be so much movement still. Like, as you're going, because I hadn't actually realized this. I hadn't looked at it. And like you mentioned, I mean, you look at San Diego and Florida on top 45, 43, and then the next team in 3rd place is Kansas City right now with 35 points. That's, like you said, a 10-point difference. But then it gets really tight right there in the middle. So there's still so much movement that can happen. And MSL is going to MSL. It will happen.
It will happen.
It will happen.
So now you look at 7, 8, 9. St. Louis, a team that really was falling apart, and then they got a couple of big wins, and now they took another loss. 7, 10, and 2. 7 and 12, basically. 19 games. They've played the most games in the league. They only have 5 games and 15 possible points that they can possibly catch the rest of the year. They're currently in 7th, and I want to emphasize currently in 7th with 22 points. Then you have Chihuahua, and Chihuahua's on the line right now at 21 points. But I think it's fair to say Chihuahua's not going to finish 8th, Jerry. And again, you look at the schedule for the Chihuahua Savage, and sneakily, I think tonight's game, which everyone who's watching can get hyped for, and this is your pregame show, but for folks listening to the podcast, it's probably already happened. Go back, watch it on YouTube, find the score at maslsoccer.com. This is one of the biggest games of the year, Chihuahua, Ontario.
Yep.
If Chihuahua goes to Ontario and wins, right, they're at 21 points right now. Ontario's at 28. Okay, boom, you're within 4 points. Then you look at the rest of the Savage schedule. This weekend, Friday, Saturday, they have Dallas for one of those back-to-backs at Corner Sport Arena. Chihuahua goes down there, makes a meal of the sidekicks, gets 6 points right there. Okay, the following weekend, it's Ontario. Fury in for back-to-back.
In
And
Chihuahua.
again, in Chihuahua.
In Chihuahua.
Oof. Wow. Right?
Yeah.
So 9 points in the next 2 weeks between those two teams. And if Chihuahua takes the 9, Chihuahua's going to be the second place team. And Ontario's going to be the team at the bottom of the bracket. Maybe fighting to get to 6th, if they can get there. So it's fascinating. And these matches are going to be huge. And so really, I think this match tonight for Fury is gigantic. It's big for both teams, but like if Fury doesn't win this game, if they don't get their 3 points at home, they're going to have to win one of those games down at Chihuahua, or else they're in big, big trouble.
Yeah. No pressure, Fury, if you're listening.
Right. Then just to finish that out, because those 4 games will conclude Chihuahua's home schedule. We know Chihuahua's 2-5 on the road so far. So that's important, but their last 4 road games are a weekend at Tacoma, a Friday, Sunday at Tacoma, and then they go to play Harrisburg and Utica. And okay, it'll be cold, maybe traveling to Pennsylvania and New York, not great, but I got to think Chihuahua's going to win both those games.
Yeah.
It's the 11th and 12th place teams. It's the 2 worst teams in the league. Like, Chihuahua's a good team. So really, these Fury games are going to be the ones that determine it to me, because I think Chihuahua's going to be able to finish off those games at the end of the year. I don't know if they'll win all 4 on the road, but I think they're going to win 3 at least.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And also, I mean, if you're looking at it, I don't think you mentioned it. Chihuahua is at 15 games played, which is the fewest in the entire league right now. So they still do have the opportunity to very easily move up, currently being in 8th place. They just have to handle business and take care of it. And I just from seeing how much passion this Chihuahua team has, I don't see them, like you said, I don't see them staying anywhere near that line. I'm pretty sure they're going to be higher up and well placed somewhere in that bracket. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I do agree. Today's game is going to be huge, and I'll be watching. So,
Oh yeah, I'll be watching too.
yeah.
I saw a question in the chat regarding the trade deadline. And the trade deadline's still like a mile away, right? We told you you can pretty much add to your roster all the way up till the last weekend. But Kansas City did make a trade last weekend. They traded for Richard Schmerman, the offensive defender, pretty big left foot, as I remember, from St. Louis. He came right in and scored a goal for Kansas City. I just expect to see other teams add to their squads the rest of the year, but don't look for the Sockers to do it. You don't change a 16-0-1 team. You got a great thing going here. So the Sockers love what they're doing. They love their roster, and they're not looking to go throw another all-star log on the fire. I mean, they explore, they do due diligence, but I just don't expect it.
No, and I mean the reason that happened last season was because we were not a very good team up to that point when we brought in Boy Morgan, and so I mean that was a necessity for the team. Right now, you don't need to change anything. This is the team that is going to take us through the playoffs. Like this is such I keep saying it, such a cohesive unit. Why mess with that chemistry?
Absolutely. All right, let's wrap up by talking about the Sockers weekend to come, because
No, we're
it's
not.
been fascinating, right? I don't believe so. I don't believe so. Not trading for Russell Wilson. Danger Russ can stay in Denver. If we get an expansion team, the Denver Locomotive can talk to him. Um, so Sockers have this weekend a really tough road trip. And of course, San Diego's won 13 in a row. So everyone's like, Sockers on a roll, Sockers #1 team. But you've always got to be asking the question, is the streak going to end? And if so, when is the streak going to end? And if there's a candidate for the streak to end, I think it's one of these two games this weekend. And you certainly look to Saturday, pardon me, because when you talk about playing the Baltimore Blast, you're talking about a veteran team, a well-coached team, but on their home field at Sekou Arena, on the campus of Towson University, on the men's basketball arena surface, covered with turf and boards. It's a unique home field advantage that is unsurpassed to me in the league in terms of the adjustments that a team has to make when they go to Baltimore. And I see our mate Brad Crossley in the chat, who's one of the hosts of the Blastcast. And it's true, 25 championships. This is the ultimate matchup in indoor soccer in terms of the two most respected clubs and the two clubs with the most history against one another. The Sockers have had the better of that history, but that's ancient history. And I remember the last time we were at the field, at Sekou Arena, I was there in early 2020 with William throwing a goal in to the opposing net and Baltimore winning 9-5, and celebration by Kool and the Gang playing, 9 times in our ears. I remember Slavicia yelling at Shane Butler, who happened to be the official that day. A story for a different day. But of course, right, as Keith Everett is saying, Boris Pardo, William Vanzella, teammates last year. William, integral to the soccer success in winning the Ron Newman Cup championship last year. Don't believe me? Just ask him. Go back to our podcast, when we talked, our championship bonus podcast. And William isn't braggadocious. He just tells it as he sees it. And he knows our club. I guarantee you he is saying to the Blast all week, I know these guys. I taught them how to win. I taught them how to defend. I will tell you how to beat them. We will win. We will laugh. I will celebrate. He's going to have them fired up and pumped up. And I already saw today the Sockers taking their already not the same size as Pechanga Arena practice field and cutting it in a third and going, this is now the wall. Like, this is the only length of field that you have to cover. So they're working on it, but this is going to be a unique challenge. And there's a reason why we've always been looking at Baltimore and going, oh man, what are you thinking about that second round and a possibility of a Sockers Baltimore second round if they stay in the 4 spot and the Sockers stay in the 1 spot? I mean, great for the league, but it is nerve-wracking, certainly for the Sockers. And that's why you really talk about field advantage, because if you're playing a playoff series, you want the decided game to be on the big field, not on the little field.
Yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. I mean, yeah, all the storylines, obviously, all of the history. I'm really looking forward to this one. And like you said, can this be the one game that we lose that streak? I think it's a very good possibility. So we'll have to see if the boys can handle things over in Baltimore.
You know, I'm hopeful by results like Ontario going to Baltimore and winning, like Florida going on a night where everything was lined up for the Blast to win and pulling that game out. But a player who wasn't available the last time that the Sockers faced the Blast has been their best player this year, and that's Lucas Roquet. And Roquet is terrific. He knows where to be. He's a great, accurate shot. He's a very heady player. 20 goals, 33 points. You know, a top 10 scorer in the league so far this year. Of course, Tony Donatelli, he's always there. Yonatas Mello, always there. Juan Pereira, always dangerous. Max Ferdinand's been hurt. I don't think he's going to be available. Oswald Anang is a young player who's come on and done well. So, you know, a lot of talent on the Blast roster, but that gives me a chance to brag on our defense for a second, Jerry, before we go.
But what have you done?
Eddie Trujillo. Yeah, Eddie Trujillo with a great point. The first time the Sockers ever beat the Blast in Baltimore, the score was 14-2. That was game 4 of the 1984-85 championship series in the MISL, and it was broadcast on CBS. It was a Sports Saturday matinee broadcast on CBS over the air. Gary Bender was the announcer, and I know Eddie holds a card in his wallet that if it was a competitive game, it might have been big news for the MISL, but instead the Sockers blew them out so bad. And I think Steve Jungle had like 7 goals, and it was never on CBS again. So it was like, why did you have to win so big for the Sockers? Great tip there by our resident lore master, Eddie Trujillo. But yeah, great stuff. Baltimore, great team. It's a 3:00 game on MASL TV. And then, Jerry, the weekend ain't over. And I do have my stat to brag on the Sockers defense. Hang on. I've got this. I'm not forgetting. But the weekend ain't over because win, lose, or draw, win, lose, or overtime loss, the Sockers will get into some SUVs or some vans, probably around 9:00 East Coast time, and they will drive 6 hours to Utica, New York, which means best case scenario, they're getting in there 3, 4 a.m. Stop for dinner, 4, 5 a.m. Getting into Utica. Guess what time the game is? It's 2 p.m. local time, the kickoff for Sockers in Utica at the odd. 11 a.m. our time. So, you know, already you're talking about 20 hours between games, but 6 of those hours are guaranteed to be travel hours on the road overnight. So it's going to be a brutal, brutal test for the Sockers, who you know are putting already their training, their planning, and their emotion into the Baltimore match. And it's kind of like, and then we're going to play Utica at home. Get Admiral Akbar out here. It's a trap. I'm telling you, you got to be ready for both games. So, you know, the win streak is in jeopardy this weekend. If they get back with 15 in a row, holy cow. Holy cow. Because Baltimore, this is their game. This is their circle game. We're going to show the whole league that we're ready to win the championship. You know, and then even if you pull that out, could you imagine then losing to 11th place Utica? Yeah, because they're probably all sore from trying to sleep, you know, in bucket seats in the back of a van overnight. It's a rough situation.
We need to get a Califino private jet going. I mean, throw that into the idea bucket.
I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to submit that to the
Yeah,
suggestion
true.
jar.
Excuse me, Cheeky. Cheeky, can we talk?
All right, last thing. I did this research for y'all, okay? And this is the last thing tonight. The Sockers so far this year have faced 4 of the best scorers in the league, top 10 scorers in the league. Frank Tayu, Nick Pereira, Jorge Pareja Rios, and Ian Bennett. Bennett, of course, leading the league in goals and points. And these are 4 of the top 10 scores. Combined, those 4 players in 62 games this year have scored 100 goals and 148 points. 4 players.
Woo! Damn.
Against every team other than the Sockers, those 4 players have combined for 92 goals and 134 points in 48 games. 2.8 points per game for the group. Basically a hat trick per game for the group. Against the San Diego Sockers, in 14 games, those 4 players, Frank Tayu, Nick Pereira, Jorge Rios, and Ian Bennett, have combined for 8 goals and 6 assists, 14 points, 1 point per game. 1
Yes.
point per game.
I love that stat. Wow.
By the way, 6 of those 14 points are Rios in Chihuahua. So
What did you call it? Defensive prowess?
yes.
Jeez.
This is my, put it on a billboard on Sunset Boulevard. This is my for your consideration, Guerrero Pino for Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
Okay? Because, and really you could say Cardenas, you could say Serta, you could say Rojo, you could say any one of the primary defensive core, but Pino is the man who leads this group. Never has the Defender of the Year in this league been given to the guy who plays the best defense. It's always given to the guy who either has been given artificially the most blocked shots or the person who has scored the most goals.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly right. But this is what Guerrero Pino has done, all right? 92 goals in 48 games, 8 goals in 14 games. And as somebody noted in the chat, Frank Tayu, one of those goals was a pure own goal where he was trying to cross the ball, at the free throw line, and it got kicked into the net by Rojo. Wasn't even aiming at net. Bennett's was a deflected free kick. 5 times those players have been shut out. Pereira's been shut out 3 times. Tayu's been shut out once, and Rios has been shut out. The player of the month was shut out by the defensive player of the month last week at Pechanga Arena, San Diego. So keep that in mind when you see awards given out, when you see, all the honorariums tossed out. This league will honor defenders that give up 14 goals, but they'll never honor the defender that shuts down the best players in the league and just erases them from the game, a giant eraser. You hear the stats here on Soccer's Overtime, because Soccer's Overtime is where you get the most in-depth, detailed coverage of the MASL.
That's right.
With actual numbers. We come with receipts. Receipts.
I love it.
14 goals, 7-2 they lost. Player of the week.
Okay, stop.
Player of the week. Put it in your Instagram story. That brings an end to this week's edition of Soccer's Overtime. Want to say special thanks to Sean Callahan for making his debut on the show. Thanks to every one of you for joining us in the chat. And thanks to everybody who watched us to the end on YouTube. Please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It's going to really help us out a lot. If you're listening to us on podcast, give us that 5-star review, submit that written review. It really helps us out a lot. MASL TV coverage, Saturday, 3 p.m., Sunday, 11 a.m. Good luck to the San Diego Sockers. We'll be back here next Tuesday night, getting you ready for a chance to get saddled up for military night and that showdown against Tacoma. Jerry, where can people follow you the rest of the week? What's going on Cheeto FC?
Oh, go and check out Cheeto FC at Cheeto FC, CHIDO FC. Or follow me at Cheeto Jerry, and I'll tell you more about what's going on there. But thank you guys for joining us one more time. We'll see you next week. Hope to have some more info, and man, really looking forward to the next few games for the Sockers on the road. Get a little bit of a break of being at the arena, but we still get some soccer, which is always a good thing. So yeah, always a pleasure, Craig.
Follow me at 619 Sports on Twitter, 619 Sports at Life on Instagram. For Jerry Jimenez, for Sean Callahan, who you can follow on Instagram at Sean Cally, Cally. I'm Craig Elston saying, have a great weekend, everybody. Great rest of your week, and go Sockers.